So good day, everyone. So welcome to the last leg of our series on our discussion of international communication and globalization. So for the first part of our discussion, we discussed about the concept of international communication and globalization, as well as their relationship. In our second part of our discussion, we then look at the impact of globalization for us to have a deeper understanding of what a globalization is, and oftentimes we insert a discussion on its relationship with international communication and some hints when it comes to intercultural communication, which will be part of our discussion for the next module. So for this afternoon, before I move on, for this lecture, before I move on to my next discussion, let me again define to you what is a globalization. So globalization, according to Thomas Friedman, is the inexorable integration of markets, nation states, and technologies to a degree never witnessed before in a way that is enabling individuals, corporations, nation states to reach around the world faster, deeper, and cheaper than ever before, and in a way that is enabling the world to reach into individuals, corporations, in nation states faster, deeper, cheaper than ever before. And one of the examples of this is of course the business processing outsource. So this time I'll be discussing about the relationship of language and globalization. Just to give you a brief introductory is that when we say language, so language is the very lifeline of globalization. Why? Because without language, there would be no globalization and vice versa. Without globalization, there would be no world Englishes. Okay, so we are utilizing language in order for us to communicate with other people. So how can we communicate with other people if we don't have language? If we will be able to communicate with other people, not only in our country, but for the rest of the world, then it becomes easier for us to communicate globally. So we say nga, di ba, before in our previous discussion that we really need to globalize our communication. And one way of doing such is how we'll be able to communicate with others. And in order for us to communicate with others is by understanding language of other nation, because language is a part of a culture. So the spread of English as an international language in the workplace, we cannot deny the fact that English has now become the international language in the workplace. Although we understand that there are nations, very conservative nations such as Japan, China, and Korea that are still um, using their own language when transacting with others. It's just that they are bringing their own interpreter. But or sometimes, let's say other country would bring an interpreter, let's say Japanese sa kanilang customer or client, they will be bringing their own Japanese interpreter para yung mga taga-Japanese, kausap nila, gagamitin nila yung kanilang language. And they will be using English. But we can also, we cannot also deny the fact that English has now become an international language in the workplace. So with that idea, there is also a need to point out that globalization is making English especially important, not just in the universities, but also in the workplace. To many people, then, the spread of English seems a positive thing, symbolizing employment. So we know that one of the advantages where many Filipinos, where there are many countries who are putting their own business in the Philippines, let's say the business processing outsource like the call center agent and English teaching, online English teaching is because of the fluency of the Filipinos. And that is one of the reasons that they are putting up their own business here in our country. So to me then, the spread of English again seems a positive thing. And it provides more employment. Just like in our case in the Philippines, there are around thousands of online English teachers and around thousands and thousands of call center agents, not only in the metro area, but also across the country. So in many countries, the ability to communicate using English is one of the advantages in order to land a job abroad. The knowledge of the English language has indeed acted as a powerful tool for development and advancement throughout the world, and fluency constitutes a huge step forward in many people's struggles for self-sufficiency and success. And we all know that most of the time people are using English, when they're transacting business, and it's for that reason, that very reason, where English becomes more beneficial to everyone if you will be applying for a job. So if you would like to land a job, then more likely you should be fluent when it comes to using the English language. So here are the importance of English language in the workplace. English-speaking workforce can help economies integrate and become more competitive on the world market, because if we can understand English, if we can communicate with English, more opportunities for us to relate ourselves with others, more opportunities for us to close a business deal. Proficiency in English has become something of a commodity, valuable both because of its utility. So just like online English teaching in the Philippines, many are now into online English teaching because of the proficiency of the Filipinos in using English. Although there are some studies that suggest that because of our Filipino accent, sometimes we are being discriminated by other nations because they would like us to sound like American. But with proper practice and proper retooling, um, we were able to imitate American English, hence landing more job opportunities, hence inviting more students uh, to enroll in our online English classes in the Philippines. And that makes English a commodity to be sold, or being proficient in English becomes a commodity to be sold. So many firms have changed their corporate languages to the common tongue of English in efforts to streamline communication and avoid leaving team members out of the loop. So the globalization of English language, how we globalize it, that's the question now. So in order for us to globalize English language, um, there's a need for us to understand that English has become the lingua franca of the global network, meaning it is the language that is usually utilized or used. Next, English is the protocol for oral and written communication across national frontiers. English language has continued to enjoy unique ascendancy. The status of the other principal languages has changed. Next, English language has been in widespread use around the world for over a century, starting with the days of the British Empire and the continuing as the United States became a political and cultural superpower. Good thing that they're investing in our country. The next, with the recent increased pace of globalization, where it's very much a part with the BPOs and ESL online companies, and the resulting profound changes in the kinds of connections that exist between nations and peoples in different parts of the world, English has become even more a world language. And with that opportunities, we're able to commodify the the online English teaching and call center agent. English language include that it has become the language of international relations, having been made official language. English is the language of the press, advertising, and broadcasting. English is the medium through which motion pictures are propagated. We do have a lot of English films. Popular music of pop groups are written and performed in English. More books are published in English than in any other language. Another another opportunity for commodity, di ba? Then English language is for many people in the world today, the medium that makes people to ask the intensification of worldwide social relations, because if you will be establishing your relationship with others, establishing linkages or partnership with others. And one way of transaction is through communication by utilizing English as a medium of of communication. It seems that there's no part of the world where there has not been at least some contact with English, although paralleling globalization. So with that, that ends our discussion of international communication and globalization. I do hope that it gives you a brief idea, at least an idea of the concept of international communication and the importance of globalization, not only on communication per se, but from other perspectives such as economy, politics, and in culture.